This is Newsmakers.
Back in session. Summer is over for Rhode Island's more than 130,000 K-12 public school students. As the state's top school official, Angélica Infante-Green has shaped education goals and policies for the last 5 years. What does she see as the department's top priorities in the post-pandemic learning environment, and how will she measure success? Our guest this week on Newsmakers, Commissioner of the Rhode Island Department of Education, Angélica Infante-Green. Welcome to Newsmakers. I'm Tim White alongside 12 News Politics editor Ted Nesi, an appropriate guest this week to wrap up 12 News coverage of back to school. Education Commissioner Angélica Infante-Green. It's good to see you. Welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
We want to start with Providence, where you recently announced the state was going to retain control of the district for up to the next 3 years. The state took control of the schools in 2019, and you have repeatedly said the pandemic, of course, had a negative impact on the turnaround plan in the city. So is this essentially a restart of the takeover, just a do-over from 2019?
No. This is actually a continuation. We want to have stability. If you saw, Harvard just put out a report on how Providence mitigated learning loss better than other districts, similar districts in Massachusetts, Rhode Island, and Connecticut, and they've actually accelerated learning. So we want to continue that. It's not where it should be, right? There's still more work to do, but we want to have continuity. The state took over Hope High School at one point. The school made progress, and then as soon as it went back, it decreased. All the progress was lost. And what we want to ensure is that the progress that has happened and the opportunities that we've built stay, and that it is part of the infrastructure as we move forward. So that's it.
You know, for those of us watching from afar, it can feel like there's a lot of consternation among the adults around the turnover. You have a lot of say over what goes on. There have been arguments over the Carl Laurel building. There's court fights over the funding with the mayor. There's criticism coming in from the school board and the city council. And I know sometimes that, you have to make decisions, and that can lead to criticism, but you also need those people to kind of be on board with what you're doing if you want it to continue when the state does hand back the schools. How do you think about that? Like, trying to get a little more alignment among all the leaders who we all just hear fighting as we listen?
Yeah, I think it's unfortunate that you hear the fighting, right? When you make change, sometimes it's difficult, and sometimes there's disagreements on how to get it done. But we already see that the district is on the right path. When we talked about the extension, there was a plan there on how we move forward, how we work together. Everybody has to put a plan together, the three entities, the school district, because I don't run the day-to-day, the superintendent runs the day-to-day, the school board, and the mayor's office. How do we create these plans on how to move forward, and what does it look like as it goes back? So there is a path for that to happen. And there are going to be disagreements along the way, but what everybody, I think all entities have, is the student's best interests at heart.
You do believe that everyone...
I do believe that. I think we just have to get on the same page, and that's what the work is ahead.
Mayor Smiley was on with Kim earlier this week on the 4 o'clock show. He suggested he'd like to be able to show you by next summer that the city is ready to take back the schools. And I know you've said this is up to 3 years. It's not a guaranteed 3 years. Could you see as soon as next summer you having the confidence to hand back the keys?
Well, let's see. My hope would be that, right? Like, trust me, the state does not want to continue to oversee any district in this manner. Yes, if they show, then we can start thinking about pieces going back earlier. We're open to different kinds of conversations, but things have to be in place.
What does that look like? What is the trigger for you to go, okay, we're ready to step back and let the city start at least to take control? What is the metric you're looking for?
Well, there's a couple of them. First is, the operational piece. There's a lot of pieces that go into that. There's the financial piece, too. That is really important. We like to talk about and compare ourselves to Massachusetts, but Massachusetts made investments in education, and that's something that we need to look at. The state has consistently increased funding. The city needs to do some of that, and I'm sure that the mayor's going to work that out as we move forward. So those are some of the metrics. They were laid out in the report. For the school board, too, there are metrics that need to be met before we make this transition. So there's a path, there's a plan that needs to be created, and we're going to move forward.
I have one other Providence question for you, Commissioner. Boston Globe columnist Dan McGowan, our former colleague, wrote a couple weeks back about the school day going back down by 30 minutes in Providence. There's been a temporary bump. And Dan, who's covered education a long time, is pretty critical of all the adults involved in that. He wrote, quote, "At this point, it's unclear if anyone is actually looking out for the students in this district. Not one leader in any position of authority from Governor McKee on down has decried the decision to take 30 minutes of school away." Were you upset that that went back down?
Well, you know, we were able to do this because we had ESSER dollars. That's the reality.
That's like federal money that came in.
Excuse
COVID
me,
money,
yes,
yeah.
for everybody. It is COVID money, recovery, and Providence was the only district that added more time. It was an additional 15 days at the end of the day. Yeah, we would have liked to keep it, but we don't have $25 million. You know, your conversation before about the conversation with the city, we're in court fighting over money. The reality is that we know that there was going to be this financial cliff. Prior to us intervening, we knew that there was going to be a $10 million structural deficit in Providence. We reported on that. So, you know, it is, our desire would have been that, but we had a 1-year agreement and there was 1-year money to do that. So we took advantage of that. That's what that money was for.
You know, you're getting a lot of questions about Providence because you're very focused on Providence with the state takeover, but there are more than 30 other school districts across the state. What do you say to parents in schools outside of Providence who think they are getting neglected by your office because Providence is taking up so much of your bandwidth?
Well, unfortunately, Providence is what gets reported, but I just came from North Providence right now. We just had a ribbon cutting. We've been working with them on terms of, they had a brand new auditorium. Those are things that we're working throughout the state. The reality is that you don't really want the state in your backyard other than to help and support you. And our organization has really shifted from just being compliance to support. So we wear both hats. And I will tell you, we just expanded our CTE programs. We had training this summer, and there were about 20 LEAs that participated in that. The work continues throughout the state. We just changed our secondary regs 2 years ago to make sure that our students could actually graduate with the things that they needed to be able to apply to college. I don't know if everyone was aware that some districts were not providing world languages, and you can't go to our local colleges without having world languages. So we changed that. We are working.
They didn't have world languages at all?
In some districts, it was not something, and our colleges require 2 years of it to even get in. So we've changed, and there are things that we're doing throughout the state. I wish that when I go to other districts, it would be reported, it would be as newsworthy, but we're working with everyone, and you're going to see me more in those places. I was just actually in East Greenwich talking to the kids about absenteeism. They had the highest reduction in the state, and they are in the 90th percent with absent attendance. And I asked those kids, hey, make a video for us. So we're in different places, and we will see much more of that. What I hope is that that gets reported a little more.
I want to ask you about teachers. There was a really sobering story in the Wall Street Journal in the last week or two about just how bad morale is nationwide among rank and file teachers. They said, quote, "In surveys and interviews, teachers are most often pointing to a startling rise in students' mental health challenges and misbehavior as the biggest drivers of burnout." Does that reflect what you're seeing from rank and file frontline teachers in Rhode Island?
You know, it almost feels like you're in my head because this is what is actually happening. I think that, you know, the pandemic ended in 2023, right? May 2023, March or May. And we knew that it was going to take anywhere from 3 to 5 years. We have actually a report that was done. But what people, in terms of instruction, but what no one really looked at until now is the mental health. The kids are different. Any teacher that you ask, if you know any teacher in Rhode Island, ask them, they will tell you the kids are different. It is affecting the instruction.
At all levels?
At all levels. It is affecting the instruction, it is affecting the way that they're learning, but just the behavior in the class. You mentioned that article, but about 3 months ago, the New York Times also put out an article on how young kids don't even know how to play with each other anymore. This is serious. The effects of the pandemic, we're going to be feeling that for at least 5 more years, at minimum. And we're concerned about it. We have been concerned about it. I'm glad that you brought that up because every single teacher will tell you that the kids emotionally are almost 2 and 3 years delayed. You know, we didn't have early intervention. You have a small daughter. You know, we used to catch those things. The needs of the kids are greater. across in every district. This is something that we're seeing, and we're seeing it. I have the luxury of meeting with my colleagues in all the states, and I have to tell you, it is the same conversation over and over, and teachers are exhausted.
Commissioner, we have to go to a break, but before we do, our newsroom has been getting a lot of calls and emails from parents who are telling us about some very concerning issues with transportation. At one school, parents say some students were left until 6 o'clock because the bus didn't show up, and people were left scrambling, and there are other examples. We don't have time to rattle through them. Is your office hearing about issues with transportation with buses? And if so, what's going on?
Yes, absolutely. We've heard it. We actually put one of the bus companies under corrective action.
Which one?
DATCO.
Okay, how come?
So because because we've heard those things. The moment we get any signal that kids are not being picked up, like that's a serious thing to us, right? We want kids. We have a big attendance campaign. Kids need to get to school and need to get to school on time, and they promised. They bid. They promised that they would be able to deliver, and up to this point, they have not in those cases where this has been a problem. So they actually got a letter today from us this morning. We're not going to accept that. They have to deliver, and if not, we are in our right to end the contract. So we are being very serious with them, and they have a few more days to deliver, and if not, we're going to take action.
All right, we're going to take a break. When we come back, should cell phones be banned in Rhode Island schools? Stay with us. You're watching Newsmakers. Welcome back to Newsmakers. I'm Tim White alongside Ted Nesi. Our guest this week is Commissioner from the Rhode Island Department of Education, Angélica Infante-Green. Commissioner, we had on Secretary of Education from Massachusetts, Patrick Tutwiler, on 12 News at 4 earlier this week, and our colleague Kim Kalunian asked him about cell phones in schools. Take a listen.
Do you think Massachusetts will ever have a statewide approach to cell phone policy? And if so, what do you think that should be?
Time will tell. What I would say right now is that the state is really in a support orientation, offering opportunities for districts that want to move in a direction of a ban or sort of reducing use or availability of the phones, access to the phones during the day. That's come in the form of grant dollars, $1.3 million that 77 districts have engaged in, and they've purchased those phone hotels or the storage mechanisms.
You hear the Secretary there. The state is assisting districts if they want to pursue cell phone bans in those districts. But other states have done an outright ban. It's almost a weird bipartisan thing. I mean, we've seen California, New York, I believe Florida is also one. There are others. Where are you on this? Should there be a statewide ban on cell phones in schools in Rhode Island?
I don't think that that's our role. Our role is to support. That's really a local decision. The superintendents or principals have to work with their community and what that looks like. What Rhode Island does have, most of our schools have a cell phone policy.
You're a mom.
Yes.
Do you think there should be a cell phone ban in your kid's school?
Well,
I don't know if there is.
Yes, they're not allowed to use their phones in the school. They're just not. They only have it for transportation, meaning and their ride home, but no. Technology is useful. It actually plays a role in the classroom when it is for instructional purposes. But if it's just for kids to be on, that is a problem because it's distracting, and sometimes it's used for bullying, whatever the reason, or social media. But there has to be some sort of policy. Some school districts have yonder pouches. Some of our districts here have already instituted policies.
I think Central Falls has those, right?
Central Falls has it across the bridge. Nathaniel
Bristol Warren's
Green,
going to
Bristol
the pouches.
Warren, Cranston has some. So there are different policies, and they're working locally to do that. That's really important because they're pros and cons.
Why are you reluctant to have a top-down policy on it?
Well, because I think other communities don't feel that it is a problem, and their kids. If you go to some schools, they have those shoe carousels, and they put them in there, and the kids know, and it hasn't been a problem. So they may not feel that they need that there, but it's not something that we have done. We could look into it later on, but right now every district is managing it and putting in their own policy, and that's the best way that it gets carried out when it's done in conjunction with.
Got a wonky question for you. We're heading into budget season behind the scenes before the governor's budget comes out. There's a big fight at the Assembly this past year because the governor proposed, a little complicated, but a change to the formula that says how much K-12 funding goes up each year. The school committees fought back, got the Assembly to change it back to the normal formula. Do you and the governor, do you expect to propose again next year, trying to lower that annual increase for K-12 funding?
Well, I don't, we're not there yet, so I don't know, but I'm always in favor of increasing. That's always where my mind is. I don't know what will happen. I can't foresee that at this point, but we do need to invest in our education system if we want to keep moving forward. And I keep repeating, the kids are not the same. They're just different, and they need more supports.
I was talking to a friend of mine who is a teacher in one of the border towns on the Massachusetts side about that article in the Wall Street Journal. I sent it to her, and how teachers are feeling. And she said, well, another thing she said for the Rhode Island teachers is the pension offer. And she's not a reporter or anything. She's just a teacher. But among the discussion among teachers is that the pension offer is notably worse on the Rhode Island side of the border than in Massachusetts because of the changes that have happened. How much do you think that is affecting teacher recruitment and retention for Rhode Island at this point?
It does have an impact. It's the pension. Also, they pay more, right? So we're sandwiched between Connecticut and Massachusetts that pay more, have a different pension. So recruitment is very difficult. We try to do as much as possible. This year we started a website called Educate 401, where it's a one-stop shop for all the districts. So if anyone wants to work in Rhode Island, which is the best state, so we want you if you're watching, we have information there. We've had job fairs, statewide job fairs. That has been really, really helpful and important. And we also pay for the praxis exam. So teachers have to take this exam. We pay for them to take the exam, but also to get support in taking the exam, prep courses. So we're trying everything in our toolkit.
But you said it right there. Rhode Island is a poor state wedged between two really rich states, relatively speaking. Is that like the root of so many of these problems, that there's just not as much money sloshing around Rhode Island to pay for schools as in Mass and Connecticut? Well,
that's a fact. We know we don't have the revenue that they do. I mean, it's one of many factors, right? I think it is the funding, it is the pension, but it is also, what are kind of the supports and the resources, but they just pay more. People want to be in a space where they get more money. But Rhode Island is still the best. That's the way I see it.
Candidly, did not want to ask you this question. Sadly, this school year started with yet another school shooting, this time in Georgia. 2 teachers and 2 students were killed. Solutions. There is zero indication that Congress will pass sweeping gun reform laws. Off the table. So this is a school and community level issues. What are Rhode Island schools doing to keep kids safe?
Yeah, unfortunately, this has really impacted our community, and it's a terrible way to start the school year. But Rhode Island has been paying a lot of attention. So all our schools have safety plans. The districts and the schools, they have to work with their local police departments, fire departments, make sure that our systems that we have are in place to keep our students safe. We have vestibules. We've invested a lot of money in having those safety measures in school. We also have emergency funding for districts that want to address health and safety concerns in the building, and then they will get reimbursement by the state. So their plans, everybody has to check their plans. They've created them and submit them to us by October, their revised plans. But right now, everybody's going through that and making sure that it is front and center. So if you have any questions, we don't make them public for obvious reasons. We don't need people knowing what our safety plans are. But if you're a parent and want to know, please ask the question locally.
A specific question. Some parents watching this might go, well, I hate to say it, but what about metal detectors?
Well, again, that's a local decision. If the municipality and the school district really want to do something like that, it's something that they can do if they want to do that.
Have you seen any of them do it?
Well, not in our state. I did go visit a school in Massachusetts, in New Bedford, actually, that has metal detectors. And it's
How did that feel?
Well, it was different. It was not what I expected. I walked right through. Like, it wasn't like you're in the airport. It wasn't like that.
Because that's what you hear people fear, the feeling of school as a more of a prison type setting or something like that.
Yeah, it didn't feel like that at all in New Bedford. But we're not there yet. Like, I think we have really good safety measures in place. We've really paid attention to it. We've dedicated money, time, and it is something that is front and center for us. We want our kids to feel safe. You know, we hate that we have to do drills, but the schools do drills on this. Like, our kids have to be prepared. Our teachers have to be prepared.
A lot of parents hate those drills.
Yeah.
I know, but this is where we are. It's unfortunate, right? And I'd rather that we be prepared and safe instead of sorry at the end of the day. That is what I want for our state.
Let's talk about you. Your contract is up next year. Do you want a renewal?
I live in Rhode Island. I love Rhode Island. This is where my work is, and we've been doing really good work. We have been recognized nationally for our attendance work. You know, we've been looking at a lot of our building work. This is where the work is happening. And we don't get a lot of national attention, but I have to tell you, we have gotten a lot of. We had Great Britain call us to see what we're doing on attendance. Hawaii, Nevada, everybody's looking at us right now because I don't know if everybody's aware, chronic absenteeism has gone up nationwide. This is not a Rhode Island problem. This is a nationwide problem after the pandemic, during and after the pandemic. And what happens is that if kids are not in classroom, they can't learn. And we put out last year for the first time the gap that exists between kids that are chronically absent and the ones that are in school at the time is 20 percentage points. But if it's doubled and quadrupled in certain places, that means that kids are not learning.
So I hear the case for you to stay, but
yeah,
so do you,
is that
you
yes?
want to stay?
Oh, absolutely. I'm a Rhode Islander, guys. I'm a Rhode Islander. My kids are in school and we're staying here.
All right. Well, we appreciate you coming on the program to wrap up Back to School Week here on 12 News, and good luck in the forthcoming school year.
Thank you.
All right. Angélica Infante-Green, who is our guest, stay with us. You're watching Newsmakers. Welcome back to Newsmakers. I'm Tim White. Regular Newsmakers viewers are likely well aware this coming Tuesday is the Rhode Island primary. We have hosted debates in this studio with candidates in the marquee races of the primary season, including in the GOP contest for U.S. Senate, Patricia Morgan and Ray McKay, both looking to replace Democratic incumbent Sheldon Whitehouse. The other race that has made a lot of headlines, the GOP primary for Cranston Mayor. Incumbent Ken Hopkins facing an aggressive challenge from State Rep Barbara Ann Fenton-Fung. Plenty of fireworks in that one. Right now on WPRI.com, we have our voter guide with everything you need to know this election season, including where to find your polling place. Now, on Tuesday, polls open at 7 o'clock in the morning, and then they close 13 hours later, 8 p.m. We will have complete coverage of the winners on 12 News. It'll be a late night, I'm sure, for my colleague Ted Nisi. It'll be after the presidential debate, so make sure you tune in. And of course, up-to-the-minute results on WPRI.com. Now, next week on Newsmakers, an analysis of the primary results and a look ahead to the November election. We'll see you then. Thanks for watching Newsmakers.